The upcoming weekend will be a busy one for New Mexico State athletics. We'll sit down with head football coach Doug Martin to look forward to Saturday's game against Louisiana Monroe. With the conference schedule fully wrapped up in the WAC tournament this weekend, we'll be joined by head volleyball coach Mike Jordan to break it all down. New Mexico State women's golf finished off their fall season in late October. Head coach Jackie Booth will join us to get us caught up on her program. And we'll also talk with head swimming and diving coach Rick Pratt about his team's upcoming Swim for MS fundraiser. With an action-packed weekend coming your way, we'll get you ready. This is New Mexico State Sports Weekly. Welcome to this week's episode of New Mexico State Sports Weekly. I'm Adam Young. After a late bye week last week, the New Mexico State football team is getting ready for their final home game of this season when Sunbelt opponent Louisiana Monroe comes to town. The Aggies are looking to send off their seniors on a high note on Senior Day. Joining me now to preview this weekend's game is head football coach Doug Martin. Coach, how good was the timing of this bye week for some aches and pains, especially with your younger guys?
Yeah, I think both the byes we've had, Adam, have been at opportunistic times. We've taken a little bit of a beating. The younger guys, obviously playing a lot of true freshmen, they needed this time off. It gave us a chance to get out and recruit, which is really big for us to move this program forward in the future.
While your guys got some extra time off, you also wanted to improve in some areas. What areas did you focus on last week?
Well, there was a lot of kicking game practice last week. Obviously, we're working with a backup punter now, and Max Johnson has struggled the last couple of games here at field goal, so we're trying to enhance those areas and then continuing to work with the quarterback. We really haven't gotten the consistent quarterback play that we need to win.
Your team relies heavily on underclassmen. How critical is it for those guys to finish off these final two games strong?
Yeah, I think it's big. I think it's big for our program, though, and our seniors. You know, our seniors have gone through a lot here. They've suffered through a lot, and they've really enjoyed the last year and a half of the facility improvements and the things that have happened here with the program. So it'd be nice to send them out with a couple of wins.
Does this game have a greater importance on Saturday because it is Senior Day at home?
Oh, no question. This is the last time our seniors are going to play in this stadium, and guys like Brandon Betancourt, who's a Las Cruces native, and hopefully we'll be back from the MCL injury, and Ume, our center, who's been a great leader for us and a four-year starter. Joe Matthews is a four-year starter at wide receiver. There's a lot of guys that have given a lot to this football program. We'd like to send them out the right way. Because
you have so many freshmen, how big of a role have the seniors played in leadership this year?
I think they've had a large role, and we've had guys that have really stepped up. Ume has been a great leader for us at the center position and for our whole football team. And there's been several other guys I mentioned, Joe Matthews, Shapiro at wide receiver also. So a lot of those guys have done a lot to move this program forward. Unfortunately, it hadn't showed up in the win column, but when you look at the inside of the program and how they've changed the work ethic here and the mentality, those seniors will be remembered.
Your opponent is Louisiana Monroe, coming off a really close loss against Louisiana. What problems can they pose?
Well, defensively, they're an excellent football team. They're probably one of the top three defensive teams in the Sun Belt Conference. They're a team that's used to winning. They're on a losing streak themselves right now, and I know they want to get that taste out of their mouth. Todd Berry is their head coach, who's a very good friend of mine, and I know Todd's done a great job building that program. So we're going to have our hands full, but we certainly need this win. We need to get off this losing streak that we're on and start building something for the future.
New Mexico State will finish off their home season this Saturday at Aggie Memorial Stadium against Louisiana Monroe. Kickoff is set for 2 p.m. Coach, we appreciate it. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Adam.
When we return, head volleyball coach Mike Jordan will fill us in on his team's finish to conference play. The Aggies are the 2 seed in the upcoming WAC tournament in Bakersfield as they look to capture a third straight trip to the NCAA tournament. Stay tuned. This is New Mexico State Sports Weekly. Welcome back to New Mexico State Sports Weekly. Your Aggie volleyball team is getting set for the WAC tournament, which begins late this week in Bakersfield. The Aggies won 4 of their last 5 matches to finish 10-4 in conference play. They also earned a 2 seed in the conference tournament. Joining me now to recap his team's recent stretch is head volleyball coach Mike Jordan. Coach, last week a win at Chicago State, a loss at UMKC. How surprised were you by the way that UMKC match went?
Well, I wasn't that surprised. UMKC is a very good team. They had a lot to play for, senior night, outright championship, that kind of thing. I was disappointed in the way we competed. I was certainly disappointed in the way that we missed a lot of assignments. We felt like a pretty good game plan in place, and in the first set we didn't do anything right, and then the confidence went down. We got shaken a little bit, and we never fully recovered from it, unfortunately. But you give credit to UMKC; they got a very good veteran team. They run a good system. They're very low error, and they force you to beat them. And we didn't play well enough to do it, obviously.
You could see them again in the championship match on Saturday. Could that benefit you?
It could. I think the fact that they played at home in front of their crowd, and now they've got to go in a neutral site, and they have not been in a conference championship match before, that will weigh on them. It'll weigh on us a little bit. I mean, really, we've got some players that have been in a couple of finals, obviously, and won them. That's good for us. But we also have a fair share of first-year players who haven't experienced it either. So we'll see. Hopefully we get there.
When we talked last, we talked about your injuries to Sasha Lee Thomas and Hannah Walker.
Yeah.
You wanted players to step up. Have you seen that?
A couple of them. It's very hard for a couple of them because they're playing out of position. But I've been happy with Shelby Good's progress. She's doing everything she can, I think, in the middle. Right now at this point, she's giving us some kills. She's got to do a better job of blocking. That's important. Casey Tome and Jordan Abelos have to pick up the slack a little bit. Physically, they're giving us some things. They've got to carry out the assignments a little bit better, be in the right spots more often, make quality digs occasionally. If they can do a little bit more, then we'll have a good shot.
You finished off conference play 10-4. Yeah. How do you view that? Do you feel like you let a couple matches get away?
We did. There's no question. We dropped a couple of matches in 5 that we'd like to have back. This program has a history of winning, and finishing anywhere other than first is a disappointment. And it's okay to say that. I think it's important that our players understand we have a higher bar set for us than most, and we want to keep striving to achieve first place. So we're not happy with second place, but it is what it is. We learn from our mistakes and we move forward.
You did finish strong. You won 4 of your last 5 matches. Were you proud of the way your team finished?
I was proud of the way some people stepped up, considering the injuries to Hannah and to Sasha. Ariadne Sierra and Andy Tawai split duties at libero. They both did a very, very good job. Andy had never played libero before, and Ari's just a freshman. So we saw a lot of really good things there. We were able to get a little bit more quality 3-pass and hut to our outside hitters and right side players, and Tome and Abelos did a good job there. Alicia Coates came off the bench a couple times in tight situations or when we were down, and gave us a lift a couple of times. So I did see some things that I really liked, yeah.
Is it safe to say that pretty much the only part of the season that matters is the week coming up?
No question. And I've been saying that since September, since we finished non-conference play after the 3rd weekend when we lost to BYU and Colorado State. Since then, I've said, what really matters is those few days at the tournament in November. And we're here now. And people like Bradley Nash and Gwen Murphy, they need to come out. Natalie Castellanos, Taylor Lavoti, they need to play their best volleyball now. They're veteran players. They've been through it before. We need them to play better than they've ever played before.
When we return, Coach and I will discuss the upcoming WAC tournament. With the 2 seed, the Aggies earned a bye into the semis and will play the winner of Bakersfield and Texas Pan American. We discuss the upcoming WAC tournament after this on New Mexico State Sports Weekly. After an action-packed season, the New Mexico State volleyball team is about to head off to Bakersfield, California for this year's WAC tournament. The Aggies are hoping to win the tournament for the 3rd year in a row and head off to another NCAA tournament. Coming in as the 2nd seed behind UMKC, the Aggies will play either Bakersfield or Texas Pan American in the semifinals this Friday. The head coach, Mike Jordan, is with us. Your thoughts on your spot in the bracket?
Well, that's another thing I've said all year long. I really don't particularly care what our seed was. I'm not a big fan necessarily of the first round bye in a typical year. I think there's something to be said for getting that first round match and getting accustomed to the neutral court. You get rid of the jitters a little bit. I've seen the semifinalists, whether they won or lost, I've seen the semifinalists who got the byes play poorly for stretches to start, trying to get those jitters out. So it makes you a little bit susceptible in some ways. That's in a normal year. This year, with the fact that we've got the injuries and we're just kind of trying to hang on, and we're going to throw some wrinkles in late season that people haven't seen before, I'm kind of glad that we have the bye.
You mentioned earlier you have the veterans who have played in big games in the conference tournament.
Yeah.
You also have some younger players. Does that worry you?
It always worries me. John Wooden said it best, the best thing about freshmen is they become sophomores. It's late in the year, though. They have a better idea of what to expect. They have a better idea of what we're trying to do. They've just got to go out and execute. And when it gets crunch time or things aren't going well, hopefully their brain will click and they won't panic and revert back to what they used to do before. They'll do what they're being taught. And it's a little bit of a flip of the coin with freshmen.
You want to play your best this coming week. Can you be at your best for those two matches?
We can. And like I mentioned before, Nash, Murphy, Natalie Castellanos, Taylor Lavoti, Hannah Walker, if she's available, they need to play well. They need to play the best volleyball they've ever played in order for us to go to the tournament and to the NCAA tournament. It's happened before. You just go down the list of teams in the past few years where the veteran players stepped up now and played really well. They need to do it now.
Did you feel anything different in practice today? Was there a greater sense of urgency?
I felt like we were a pretty loose team. There definitely was a commitment to effort and following assignment volleyball. We were so bad at it on Saturday. We missed so many assignments that I think we had a long talk in the video session about coming out and doing your job. Putting aside what it is you think you see and doing what you're being told to do. And so that's important. They've got to follow assignments. And when we do, typically we're very good at holding teams' percentages down. When you do that, you're always a threat to win.
When you look at the bracket, is there a team that you feel like you really match up well with and a team that maybe you don't want to play?
Well, they've all got their positives. Utah Valley has a 6-2 system where they've got a lot of versatility. They've got a great player in Bacher. Samadon and her group of teammates at Seattle are physical and big. They put up a lot of kills. They're not as good defensively some days. Bakersfield's great defensively. They serve very tough. They've got great arms. They're at the top of the kill numbers, I think, with the team along with UMKC. They just don't block very well. So they all kind of have a weakness and they all have a strength. And we're likely to play Bakersfield, obviously. The fact that they don't block well is a positive for us, but we've got to defend and serve well.
Would you be surprised if one of those 3 through 5 seeds won 3 matches in 3 days?
Not at all. Not at all. I think this is a wide open field. I said at the end of last year, if anybody was ever going to knock us off out of the top spot, it would be this season because of our youth. This field's wide open and anybody can win it.
Your keys to winning a conference championship this week?
Veteran players playing well at crunch time. They need to step up and get it done. It's on their shoulders. Assignment volleyball for the youngsters, going the right places, making the easy dig. You saw it numerous times on Saturday where we got something easy and we just let it go. We didn't get a quality swing in return. That can't happen.
Keep close tabs on the Aggie volleyball team in the WAC tournament by heading to nmstatesports.com and root for your Aggies to return with their 3rd straight WAC championship. Coach, best of luck.
Adam, appreciate it.
When we return, we'll be joined by head women's golf coach Jackie Booth. Her team wrapped up the fall season after competing in the UNLV Collegiate Showdown in late October. Coach will fill us in on the details after the break on New Mexico State Sports Weekly. The fall season has come to a close for the New Mexico State women's golf team. The Aggies wrapped up fall play in late October and received strong play throughout the season from numerous individuals. The Aggies are now off until mid-February when they resume play for the spring season. Here with me now in studio is head women's golf coach Jackie Booth. Coach, some really good play from your team in the fall. Were you impressed overall by your team's play?
We did. We had a great season this fall. We had a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, and then at UNLV in a really strong field, we finished 12th. We've improved our stroke average from last spring with the very same team by 10 shots. And we've gone in the rankings from 115 to 75. So that in itself says a lot for what we've done.
Was there a particular tournament during the fall where you felt like your team played their best golf all year?
We started off great at BYU. We got rained out the last day, so we didn't really get to see how we would finish with 3 rounds. But at our home tournament, our 3rd tournament into the year, when we finished 3rd, we were only 2 shots off of a school record for the lowest 3 scores for a team in Aggie history, and we finished 3rd. So they played really well there too. So we've had a great fall. It was really fun.
I know numerous individuals played well, but can you pinpoint one who had a breakout year?
That would be hard. Cameo Rito, Vivi Macias, Vali Macias, and Casey Daups have been our 4 strong horses, and they've all rotated in and out of that one spot. And then another battle has been for 5th spot. So it's been fun.
Looking ahead to the spring season, you have some time off now. It gets a little colder in Las Cruces. What are the preparations like leading up to that season?
We are only allowed to practice 2 hours a week now in off season. So we're actually doing some really fun Ryder Cup play with the men's team. We're pairing the men up with the women, and they're really having a blast doing that. And seeing the strengths of the women versus the men has been really eye-opening for the girls and the men as well.
Now are they playing the same tees?
No.
So different. So the men are playing the tips and the women are up a little further?
Exactly.
Still very close though?
No, not really, because the girls hit it in the fairway and the guys don't.
There you go.
So last Friday we played where the men and the women hit from their tees, and then the women took the men's tee shot and the men took the women's tee shot, and the guys were like, wow, this is kind of fun to be in the fairway.
You often bring up putting, Coach. Is that the area your team's trying to improve on right now as a whole?
Yes. In college golf, I feel like all the players hit it pretty much the same. And the area that we can really make our moves in is short game and mental game. And so that's what we really work on a lot.
The current place of the women's golf program here at New Mexico State, happy with where it's at right now?
Definitely happy. I'd like to see us move up some more spots in the spring. If we can get in the top 50, that will give us a chance for post-play in ranking and also in conference. So 2 chances to go that way.
Finally, Coach, expectations for the spring?
Expectations bring frustration.
Fair enough, fair enough.
No, we'll have a great spring, and I'm excited to get going again.
The Aggie women's golf team returns to action in mid-February when they head to Texas for the Texas State Delta Gamma Spring Challenge. Coach, we'll talk to you then.
Thanks a lot.
After the break, we'll be joined by head swimming and diving coach Rick Pratt. His team is holding a special fundraiser this weekend, the Swim for MS event. We'll get all the details of the event when we return. Don't go anywhere. This is New Mexico State Sports Weekly. The New Mexico State swimming and diving team has a busy schedule ahead of them, but your Aggies are still finding time between meets to volunteer and put on a national fundraiser. This Saturday, the Aggies will be hosting a Swim for MS event where all proceeds go to the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America. Joining me now in studio is head coach Rick Pratt. Coach, an outstanding event coming up this weekend. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it should be a fun thing. You know, it's a great cause, and proceeds will help the MS Association of America. Their funds help people that have MS. You know, helping them go through that process of dealing with that terrible disease. So everyone knows somebody or has a loved one that's been affected by that. And I think it's just going to be a fun event for our swimmers to put on and have the whole swimming community, everybody at the pool, kind of come together and just do some laps for an hour on a Saturday afternoon and promote the cause.
How did this idea come up with your swimmers helping out?
I have one of my good friends in town was recently diagnosed, and Rachel's aunt has been diagnosed. So that as a staff, we're affected directly by MS, and it's something we've just been talking about, and it's an easy thing to do, right? USA Swimming also pushes the cause a lot. Missy Franklin, who's one of the world's top swimmers, she really pushes Swim for MS. So we thought, what an easy thing to do, and fun idea, and then the team's really rallied behind it, and so it should be a great afternoon. We're really looking forward to it.
How important is it to have your team help out in the community?
It's huge, and it helps helps the community obviously, but it helps our swimmers. It's a great experience for them as student athletes. We want their experience as student athletes has to be a broad spectrum of things. It's not just swimming and studying. It's how to be a better person, how to contribute to society once they leave here. So, every little thing we can do to help Las Cruces as a community affects us more positively than it does the community, certainly in some ways.
Do you guys have a goal as far as participation for this event?
We'd like to have 100 people come out and swim and do laps and really pack the pool like sardines in there. And if hopefully we'll raise over $2,000 or $3,000 in the process, but in general just raising awareness for the cause.
Finally,
So,
Coach, touching on your team,
Yeah.
the Divers have a meet Friday
yeah,
at the Wildcat Invitational. How challenging is the field for this one?
that's a huge field. There's going to be, I forget how many divers, but definitely over 50 divers from all over the West Coast. You know, a lot of Pac-12 competition, and the majority of the divers on the West Coast are going to be there. So what a great opportunity for our divers to go out there, and it's an easy meet to get to. They're just going to drive out to Tucson and compete. So Lauren is on fire, and you know, I think it's going to be a great experience for her, and they're looking forward to it. So for the swimmers, we don't have a meet until NAU, and we're training hard. I mean, the girls are they're pushing the limit every day, so it's a fun time.
Come out to the NMSU Natatorium this Saturday at 12:45 p.m. and support both your Aggies and Kearing MS. Also, be sure to check nmstatesports.com to keep up with the New Mexico swimming and diving team as they compete on Friday in the Wildcat Invitational. Coach, best of luck this weekend.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
If you missed any part of today's show, you can also check us out on YouTube, and be sure to stay up to speed on social media by liking New Mexico State Athletics on Facebook and following us on Twitter. That will do it for this week's installment of New Mexico State Sports Weekly. I'm Adam Young saying thank you for watching, and go Aggies.